Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I am so excited to jump into today's crafting tutorial because I am doing another freshie tutorial for you guys. But in today's freshie tutorial, I'm gonna be showing you guys how to make a tie-dye car freshie. Now I actually found out about these tie-dye car freshies because of one of my viewers on here. She requested that I do this tutorial and I was really interested, and when I went to go search tie-dye car freshies on Etsy and Google, and I saw some of the Google images that popped up, they looked so cool and I knew I had to try it. So if you're ready to see how I made my tie-dye car freshies, then keep watching. So I'm just going to quickly go over all the things that you're going to need for this craft to make these car freshies. Now, just in case this is the first car freshie tutorial that you are watching, I highly recommend that you go watch my how to make a car freshie tutorial that I will link up above for you now, just because I go into more depth on where I got all my supplies. I give you more tips and tricks. It's a more like detailed, descriptive video, so it's more beginner friendly. So if this is your first car freshie tutorial, I definitely recommend checking out that video first. Anyway, let me go ahead and show you what you're gonna need for these freshies. And as always, I will be sure to link all of my supplies that I'm using today down in my video description for you guys. So the first thing that you're going to need is aroma beads. Now I already have some that are aired out and ready to go, meaning they're ready to be fragranced and pigmented. They no longer have that plasticky, vinegar, gluey smell that they sometimes have when you first get them in. So I've already aired mine out and they are ready to go. You're also going to need some mason jars to put your aroma beads in, or some other type of airtight container. I just prefer using mason jars. You're also going to need some mica pigment powder. The brand of mica pigment powder that I'm using today is called the Hippie Crafter, and I love these mica pigment powders. They are beautiful. You're also going to need some type of fragrance oil. Now I get the majority of my fragrance oils from Bulk Apothecary and Candle Science. Those are like the best quality fragrance oils in my opinion, but I also find a lot from a ton of other like smaller companies, and they smell just as amazing. So your options are really endless. Now you're also going to need either a metal cookie cutter to bake your freshie in, or in my case today, I'm using these silicone molds, and these are oven safe, they're heat resistant, they're not gonna melt in the oven. So if you are using silicone molds, you just need to make sure that they are heat resistant and oven safe. You're also going to need some roofing nails, and that's going to put the hole in the freshie. And then you're gonna need some type of string, cord, or elastic to hang your freshies on your rearview mirror with. And then also a pair of scissors to cut your elastic and to trim your freshies if you choose to do so. And you're also gonna need some type of storage bag or something to put your freshie in. I like to use these like food safe bags because they're smell proof. You can't smell the freshie outside of this because it's such a thick, it's almost like a foily plastic, but one side of it is clear while the other side is holographic. So once I put my freshie in here, you can see it. It has like a pretty little background, and it keeps the scent in these bags. You're also going to need a spoon to divvy out your aroma beads and a non-stick baking sheet to actually bake your freshies on. But like I said, I will be sure to link all the supplies down in the video description for you all. But of course, you don't have to use the supplies that I'm using. You can use whatever brand or supplies you want to. These are just the things that I recommend because I personally use. All right, I am so excited to try these freshies, so let's jump into this tutorial. Now I've already pigmented and fragranced my beads several days ago. As you guys can see here, they are completely cured. They're not sticking to the sides of the jar at all. So I'm just going to quickly describe how I do that while I show a little clip of me doing it, because I prepared these ahead of time. So what I like to do is measure out 4 ounces of aroma beads into my mason jar, and then I put a pinch of mica pigment powder and 1 tablespoon of fragrance oil per 4 ounces of aroma beads. Now you can do this with a scale, or you can do it by volume by using the lines on the side of the mason jar, which is what I do, but it's your personal preference. It's whatever you want to do. And I only take the time to say that because there have been plenty of people that have come after me for not weighing out my beads. I personally don't like to do it. I find my beads are a little bit stronger and last longer because I do the volume method. But like I said, personal preference, to each their own. Do whatever you want to do. So anyways, then I just shake the jars up until everything is well combined. And then I just let the jars set for several days until they are completely cured and they no longer stick to the sides of the jar. Now, once your beads are completely cured and they no longer stick to the sides of the jar, you can go ahead and bake them. So since I have my beads already cured and ready to go, we are ready to go ahead and bake these freshies. Now, I get asked all the time, do I use my kitchen oven to bake my freshies? And the answer is yes, I do. I do not have a separate oven. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and preheat my oven to 300 degrees. Okay, and now that my oven is preheating, now we're going to pour the beads into our silicone mold. And like I said, because I've never done these tie-dye freshies before, this is like an experiment for me. So I'm gonna try 2 different ways just to see how they come out. Okay, so I have my silicone molds on my pan ready to go. So I'm just gonna insert my little roofing nail. I'm gonna set it in there, and that is going to create the hole so that we can tie a string or cord in our freshie. So for one of them, I'm just gonna try to keep the colors like separated into like little sections, and we'll see how that comes out. And then for the other one, I'm going to divvy out the beads and I'm going to kind of keep them separated like a line. I don't know, we'll see how this turns out. So like I said, I'm just putting my beads in there. And because this is tie-dye, I don't think it has to be perfect. I think it's going to be pretty because it's not perfect. Does that make sense? So I'm like literally just putting like a tiny little spoonful at a time, kind of like next to the other color, and we're just gonna kind of like keep them kind of piled onto each other, and we'll see how this turns out. Okay, so now that I have all my colors in there, I'm going to like kind of flatten them out with my spoon. We'll kind of see how this looks, if we need to do anything. Okay, I think that looks a little bit better. So now we're gonna do the second one. And like I said, I'm gonna try to keep them like separated. And I'm gonna do this by kind of like keeping this tilted just until I get that first layer of beads, and then it'll be a little bit easier. Okay, so if you can see here, we have them all like divided. So now I'm just going to layer them until I've filled up my silicone mold. All right, so now I'm ready to put my freshies in the oven. Like I said, my oven is set to 300 degrees and I'm gonna bake these for approximately 10 minutes. All right guys, so it has been about 10 minutes. So we're gonna check to see if our freshies are done. So I'm gonna show you how I do that. Oh, these look so cool. Okay, now you don't wanna melt your beads enough to where they're completely flat. That means you're burning them, you're melting them way too long. You wanna still see like the individual beads like you can here. But when your beads look wet, that means that they are melting together and that's a good sign. But the ultimate way to be able to tell if your freshies are done is when you put your finger to them, do the beads stick to your finger and like raise with your finger, or are they completely melted together and they don't stick to your finger at all? Which is obviously the case with these. As you can see, they are not sticking to my finger. So these are good to go. So I'm gonna let these set and completely cool down to room temperature before we demold these and move on to decorating them. All right guys, so my freshies are completely cool to the touch. So now we are ready to demold them and decorate them if you choose to decorate yours. So I'm just going to pop these out. And check out how smooth and shiny this backside is because of that silicone mold. So here's the other side. And there's the smooth side. Okay, so To take out our nail, I just like to kind of push on it in every direction just to kind of loosen it from the Freshie. And then I'm just going to press down on my baking sheet to pop that nail out, and then I just pull it through, and now we have a little hole right there that we can put our string, elastic, or cord through. I always say you don't have to do this part. I just prefer to because I just think they look nicer, but I like to trim the edges of my Freshies. So all these little spiky edges that you see here, I just like to trim those down so that it's like uniform all the way around. Like I said, it's just my personal preference. I just think it makes it look a little more finished, nicer. Okay, so as you can see, it's trimmed all the way around, and you see how much nicer that looks. So now this Freshie is ready to decorate. So let's go ahead and demold and trim our other one. So same thing, I'm gonna pop out this nail, and then I'm gonna trim it. Okay, and there's that one. All done and trimmed and ready to decorate. So now I like to go ahead and tie my elastic on before I start decorating it. And I like to cut about 10 to 12 inches of string or elastic or cord or whatever I'm using. But then I just put the two ends together, and then I create a knot like so. And then we are ready to put this through our Freshie. So then I have a loop on this side, and then I just string the other part of the cord through and pull, so that now I have a loop that we can put over our rear view mirror, and it is nice and secure. So I'm gonna do the same thing for the other one. Now our string is attached and we are ready to decorate our Freshies. So I just like to tuck the string behind the Freshie so I don't have to worry about it like getting in my way or anything. And I already have my hot glue gun over here. It's been preheating. On one of these, I'm going to decorate with just regular puffy paint. And then on the other one, I'm gonna be putting a cardstock round that I designed, and I'm just gonna be hot gluing that on. So for the cardstock one, I just put some hot glue all over my cardstock, especially like the edges. And then I just kind of center it up to the best of my ability and then press it on there while the hot glue is still hot. I also like to use my mason jars to kind of press down because it is like hot on your fingers obviously, but just to make sure it gets really on there. So there's one. Now you can choose to decorate both sides if you want to. Like if you printed and cut out two of these designs, you could put one on each side if you wanted. I personally don't like to do that, especially like in this case. I think this is beautiful on the back, so I'm just gonna put the design on one side and leave it as is. So there's our first tie-dye car Freshie. Super cute. Love how this came out. Now this other one, like I said, I'm just gonna do with puffy paint. So I'm gonna have to let this set for the rest of the day to dry, but then this one's gonna be done. I'm just gonna do a like little smiley face because I think that would be really cute on this. Okay, so there's my little smiley face. I think it's so cute. Like I said, I'm gonna have to let this dry all day before it's gonna be like completely hardened on there, but now we are done. All right guys, so there you have it. That is how I made my tie-dye car Freshies. I think they came out beautifully. I think I definitely need some more practice, and I'm probably gonna be trying some other like techniques for this. So when I do, I'll definitely be sure to show you guys, but I think these came out so great for my first time. They're so cute. But as always guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did like it, please let me know by giving me a big thumbs up. Be sure to drop a comment down below and let me know which tie-dye car Freshie is your favorite. Or if you have any other Freshie video requests, be sure to comment those down below as well. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, be sure to click that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any other crafting tutorials. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.